I agree. I agree. That's I ask that because sometimes when I'm sitting by myself in my office thinking about my next steps, sometimes I'm at the point where like, fuck, I used to have all these people around me, all these people that I thought were my friends, and I was making tons of money, but a lot of them it was like entourage, like they were part of it, and I would pay, and listen, I'm not gonna ever say that I didn't have a good time doing it, and I didn't do it to have a big entourage so I could have like that. I was tried to fly under the radar as long as I could because a lot of stuff I was doing was people didn't need to know what I was doing. So I did it because I liked it. I liked the people, being around people. I've always been a people person. So sometimes now when I'm in this new lifestyle that I'm in and it's just me, it does get lonely. And I get the same feelings at 52 that you probably had when you were. That's why I admire you so much, because some of the stuff you went through in college is stuff I'm feeling now because I didn't have that. Like I always had people around me. I always had an entourage. So that's why I asked you about the lonely part, because sometimes I sit and I'm like, fuck, this is pretty lonely sometimes. But it's okay though.
Entrepreneurship is beautiful because you're never going to get what you want until you become who you need to be.
Yeah, true.
So if you can't deal with that loneliness, those struggles, that everyday grind,
it's not for you.
It doesn't mean it's not for you, but you better be able to adjust and develop yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to get what you want to get.
Well-rounded person.
Yeah, you need to embody who you need to be to get what you want.
It's a good point. And it's funny, I think I'm going through that now with myself. I've learned a lot about, as people know, with all the weight I lost and now the shape I put myself back into. It's just, I have a well balanced life now. My friend group is super tiny. People that I trust, but my family, I never lost sight of my family, my kids, my wife. Those are the people that I surround myself with now. Because truthfully, those are the people that love you the most. So why wouldn't you? And you sometimes lose sight of that when you're chasing money. And I always go back to this because it was such a big thing for me. Because I thought money proved power, entitlement, all these words that I fucking hate. But I always loved money. So like now I'm learning balance. And I think, and having God back in my life too is super, super important for me as a person. Not everybody has to believe that. Not everybody, I tell this to everyone, I'm not a holy roller. It's not what but having that balance of having God in my life. And I think he wants us to struggle because...
Absolutely, that's why it's hard. Life is not supposed to be easy.
Exactly, because at the time, when your time is up and you got to go to that door, and you knock on it, he wants warriors. He doesn't want weak people that everything happened perfectly for him, because he wants a warrior that's going to knock.
Imagine looking at who you could have been, but you weren't.
Exactly.
That's hell.
That is hell. And that's one of the reasons why I think I'm still here. Because I don't think I could have faced myself, because I was not living up to who I could have been or who I'm going to be. I'm a better person today than I was, than yesterday, but they're way better than I was, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I had tons more money. But that doesn't create the happiness that we're looking for. But this hard work, people think this is, and I want you to share this because I say this all the time. TikTok, Instagram, all the social media, everybody only sees the instant gratification.
People only see what you show them.
Exactly. And nobody knows how hard you work. Because nobody. Not even me. Not a clue. Not a clue. But most people think it's that easy, what you do and how you're doing this at your age. And no way.
Absolutely. And people will probably watch this and think that I have all these successes and my life is great, but no, it's could be very difficult a little later today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. It's refreshing. It's nice to know that there's young men out there that actually want to be entrepreneurs like this, but to get the behind story and talk about your life and kind of do this is super important for people to hear. Because if I looked at you, like I said, when I looked at you in the gym, I was like, this motherfucker partied in college. Like he's strong. He's a young man, a good-looking kid, gets a lot of girls. It was I'm sure you had a lot of girlfriends, but it's the complete opposite of what college was for you. So I always tell my kids, don't ever judge a book by its cover, because you don't know what's on the inside.
No, you don't know.
You don't know what's on the inside. Yeah, it's something that's.
Well, same thing when I met you, when you showed me your old license.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Almost.
Looks nothing like you.
I know, and I thought.
In these past few years, God's taken you to the next level. You're embodying who you need to be for this life, to change others and make impact.
Thank you. It's quite a journey. It's been an amazing journey. It's not easy by any means. We were just talking about this before we got on to film, and I said, even with relationships, like I didn't understand fully at 25. My thing was make lots of money, have babies, and everything's going to be perfect. But if you don't work on your relationship with people, your significant other or your wife or whoever that may be, it doesn't work. So there's balance. So the like you said, health, wealth, and relationship is what life's about. And I haven't forgotten that. You told me that.
3 core markets.
Yeah, exactly. And that's in every business. You told me that. Another thing I've learned from him, I'm telling you, at 52, I'm learning every single day, and I love it. I love it. It's important to me, and it's important to other people too. There's some people out there that make millions of dollars in their niche business, millions, maybe hundreds of millions, and then they think they know everything about life. That's not fucking true. You found a niche business, or you did something super successful, but that doesn't make you right about relationships, doesn't make you right about your health. It cracks me up because there's a lot of doctors that we go to that talk about the health, and they're 280. Like, I'm gonna listen to you and you're not even in good shape. Like, how the fuck is that supposed to work? Exactly. Right? Like, this is the world we live in today. So, but it was something that always, when you said that health, wealth, and relationship, it brings it. I always think about that now, and it's true. It's everything that we talk about in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And life is a collective process. We're all in this together. When you die, like, you're not going to be remembered 4 generations from now. What is remembered, or what is left behind at least, is the impact, what you did. What I try to do with my business is I try to improve the quality of life for other folks that are struggling with inflammation, and they're in this state of hell and suffering.
Yeah.
So, just trying to touch other people's lives like that. These videos will last years to come.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. If we can keep helping people. And it's funny, another reason why he came into my life, because he handed me that cream, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And me doing opioids was the way I recovered from my pain, which it was never really recovering. It was just putting a Band-Aid on. I feel like that's what society does. We don't actually figure out the core results of what we're supposed to do to fix it.
And it's always going to come back to you if you don't.
And it always comes back. So like opioids, like whatever it may be. Oh, I smoke weed to go to sleep at night, like that, for anxiety. But we got to get to the core reasons of these problems. If not, we just spin in a circle.
Yeah.
So, and you do it
requires
naturally.
Strength to face those issues consciously.
Yeah.
You're never going to get away with a bad decision that you make in life. You might get away with it temporarily.
True.
But God's going to bring it back to you. You're going to pay for it, and you're going to learn, and you're going to face it consciously. And you're going to face it consciously until you're strong enough to actually deal with it.
Yeah.
You
couldn't have said that any better, because I've been living through that. 100% living through it, and I've gotten nothing but stronger.
It's like, that's what people do with alcohol and drugs. They mask their problems. They can't face it consciously in a right frame of mind.
Yeah. but you think you are. See, that's the funny thing. I always thought, wow, I thought I was functioning on all cylinders, but I was a loose fucking cannon, like a loose fucking cannon. I think people were more afraid of what my next move was going to be than really respected my decision, which is kind of embarrassing in life. Like, especially at a grown ass man, you know, like making lots of money. We were talking about how we mass pain with drugs, alcohol, and our society allows us to accept it in so many ways. And you know what bothers me about it is that we we take opioids, for instance, right? It's legalized, so you can get a script, but cocaine is just as bad as opioids, but it's not legal. So if you get caught with cocaine, you're going to prison. You get caught with a bottle of opioids, if they're in your name, you're not going to prison. If they're not in your name, there's a possibility you could, unless you're smuggling them across the board, like whatever, like hundreds of thousands of them. And then we have weed now. When I was a kid, weed was just as bad as cocaine. Like, if you were caught with weed, it was like, oh my God, what is that guy doing?
Now it's like nothing.
Now it's like, it's accepted because our society and our government has said, we're going to capitalize on it because we can now tax it and we can make money off of it. And now we can get, now they've told people that this is a better way to handle your anxiety than taking even Adderall, thank you, or masking pain because you have back pain with opioids. You can smoke weed, and now you have kids that are, I don't know how young you can be. Again, I don't know the laws, but I know down here in Florida, you can get your marijuana card and say you need it for sleep, and you can walk in. There's one on every corner. Jersey, same thing. I was driving down the street with my son and just found out that the NCAA Division I they're not going to test for weed. So why are we allowing this? Because I just can't. I've done it all, right? Like, and I didn't do a drug in high school, but since then I've done it all, and I've taken all that out of my life because I feel like if you're going to say, oh, you can do weed, but I can't take an opioid, but I don't do cocaine, I'm still being a hypocrite in my eyes. And that's something that I strongly, strongly believe. I had to take it all out of my life because it wasn't good for me. But I just want your opinion on this because I just don't understand how people are, and again, there's people out there that need it for whatever situation, you know, if they have medical reasons. But I just feel like so many people are able to get a medical card and they use it for recreation more than they use it for medical, and they abuse it.
It's all on environment. That's as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
I think. You know, you look at kids in high school, throughout college, the environment is everybody smoking weed, partying. There's this social acceptance. But where the problem lies, I don't know if this is the only problem, but it's what springs to mind first is once you're in that environment and everyone's doing those sorts of things, then you start going overboard with it. You don't know how to use it for the right reasons. As far as like marijuana goes, certainly there could be therapeutic effects, and that could certainly help certain folks with certain conditions.
Right.
But people abuse it in ways where people will get just too stupid or couch locked, and they'll just be smoking weed all day.
All day.
And they're useless.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything done.
And they think they're actually
service.
Yeah, and yeah, great word. Because most people forget that we're here to serve first, and we're not here to self-serve ourselves.
And that's why there's difficulties in life. That's why life isn't meant to be easy, because life is about service and growth and going to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's super, super important. So tell me, drugs in your life, used them, didn't, not a big deal. Seems like you went through the Adderall stage, probably smoked a little weed, but ever since then, you're kind of good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually very thankful. Um, Let me take a step back for a second. A lot of people will look at like Adderall or nicotine. I had an issue with nicotine years ago.
Me too.
And people look at that like, oh, those are minor things. Those aren't the serious or the heavy duty drugs or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I actually faced some very serious difficulties and struggles getting off both of them. And why I just mentioned that I was thankful for that is that I'm thankful that it was that minor, because it could have been a more serious drug or a more serious situation. And so I have a taste of what it's like to get away from the devil in ways as far as addiction, and like it just keeps trying to bring you back in, and like the anxiety is just so intense, and
Yep.
it clouds your mind, and you're just not right. You're just not healthy. You're not the way you're supposed to be.
And it's around us 24/7, 365. Every radio station, every commercial you see on TV, there's always some flash of now gamble's legalized now, or you know what, oh, take this for back pain, or smoke this for back pain or headache, and it's nonstop, the world we live in. So when I decided, because I think a lot of people know this, that when I finally quit drinking in 2020, I was still taking marijuana gummies to sleep. But of course I abused those, and I was taking 8 to 10 a night, and I finally realized in my own head, I think part of me realized that I liked getting fucked up. Like I think there's a part of me that just likes getting fucked up and kind of checking out. I think I check out because I was masking whatever anxiety or whatever I didn't want to deal with the rest of the day, or think about what I had to deal with tomorrow. Fuck it, I'll deal with it tomorrow morning. But the more you take of that shit, the more anxiety you wake up with the next morning. So it's a vicious cycle. And I don't know in today's world, because in America, right, everybody supersizes everything. Our meals are supersized, our fucking drinks are supersized, yeah. Everything's over the top. So I don't know if there's any portion control even with smoking weed, because now it's legalized. And that's what our government wants. Well, once it's good for everybody, it's socially acceptable. Just like drinking, and I might have brought this up, with my oldest son, when I was drinking a lot, I said, oh, well, we have a huge basement, have everybody come to our house, and they can stay at our house and drink, and I'll take everybody's keys. They were 16, 17 years old. Like, why was I was doing that? You know why? Because I was pleasing me. Like, I wasn't doing the right thing as a dad and saying, hey, there's no fucking drinking in our house. I don't drink, but what was I going to say? Oh, no, you can't drink here because what? And then I'm going to have you go to somebody else's house and do it there, and I got to worry about how you're going to get home, or you think you're going to drive, and no, none of that could happen. But I allowed it to happen in my own house, which makes me sick. And there's so many people out there that think that that's okay. But all you're setting your kid up for is a better chance to be an alcoholic. And I always say this on my podcast. I don't like using the word alcoholic or drug addict, or setting your son or daughter up to have a drinking problem, right? Like, that's what it really comes down to. I don't like to use those words because they're so negative, but we give them the opportunity at such a young age. There's a better chance that could happen if you don't give them the opportunity. I'm not saying that it can't happen either way, because I didn't drink in high school and I went off the deep end, right? So everybody's always like, well, there's balance, but no, do we really have balance? Like in today's world? I don't know. I think I'm finally getting it in life, but not, and it took me a very long time.
It can be very difficult, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be very difficult.
I just think that it's something that our society today has made it very difficult for us to even think that that's not normal, right? Like
Of course, absolutely.
Done on purpose, do you think?
It's tough because of the temptations around everything, and it's one after the other, and it could get more intense if you let it.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is. It could be anything. It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be sex, it could be gambling, etc.
Yeah, I feel like I've touched them all. Like I mean, I can't tell you a time where I haven't done anything to excessive amounts. And now I've focused my energy towards being a much healthier person. I probably do that to excessive amounts, but this is positive stuff. So you don't get looked at as like a bad person when you're doing super positive stuff. You get looked at as like, and this is what
You're
we're
leading by
do.
example.
Exactly. Yeah. Can we talk about, a little bit about your pops before you were even born? Like that's and if you're okay talking about it, hopefully your pops is all right with talking about it, because it's something that's this is why he is the man he is today. Because I got an opportunity to meet his pops, and he's a dude. He's a great guy, but he's going through some struggles in life, and I think this is why you're so mature today at 24. Did I say 25?
25.
25. Sorry,
Okay.
At 25, than I was. My dad was just a great guy, and he hardworking and fucking did everything right, and I never was in trouble with the law. I don't even know if he ever got a speeding ticket. Never mind, never did a drug, didn't drink, like any of that stuff. So I don't know where I got all this shit from. I guess it was some other people in my family, but like sometimes we go down roads that we're not supposed to go down, but the people that come out of those roads, I feel like really that can turn their lives around, like your dad did, is really a great story. So I'd just love for you to share if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more so what you're alluding to is just preventing the mistakes that my dad made growing up. And it doesn't have to be exactly what it was, but just going down the right path. And basically what happened to my father is he went to prison for 10 years. Late 80s, early 90s, before I was born. And he went down the wrong path as far as hanging around the wrong crowd, the wrong environment. I'm sure he didn't, that wasn't his intention. I don't think it's anybody's intention. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely, But he had some extreme suffering as far as losing 10 years of his life.
That's incredible.
At my age now, he'd be in a prison cell.
How old was he when he went in?
I'm not exactly sure. His early 20s,
Yeah.
22, 23.
Oh my God, yeah.
Losing all your 20s. So that was beating my head when I was growing up. Not that he went to prison, but as far as like making certain choices, and he made certain choices as far as being around an environment with drugs, specifically cocaine, and
and back then, not to cut you off, but back then.
And I'm not saying that he was like this huge drug dealer or coke addict or anything like that. I don't want to paint my father out to be that type of person, but I'm just bringing that up because that's what he was around. And my whole point of sharing this is, growing up, my father would tell me, that's the devil, stay away from that. And my life ain't all sunshine and rainbows. There have been times where I've seen cocaine or been in a bathroom, not doing cocaine myself, but I've seen friends do cocaine and they'd ask me to do it, and I would look at it and I'd see my father. I would hear his voice in my head saying, Jay, that's the devil, stay away from that. I'd see his face, and if I were to ever do that, it'd just be such a dent on my character. I couldn't live like that, That's something you can't come back from.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to let him down that way, and
but he's proud.
I think a big, more on a spiritual level and more like on the topic of meaning in life and purpose. It's like when you have a kid or a child, you want them to improve.
You want them to be better than you.
You want them to be better than you, yeah, to fix on your mistakes as a parent. And I'd be making the same mistakes as him if I were to be doing that.
Right.
So, yeah, that was...
and you guys have the best relationship.
Absolutely, he's my best friend.
I love it.
He's my best friend. He's my business partner. I don't know what I would do without him. I've always thought that to myself.
That's good shit.
Seriously,
That's good shit. I actually got goosebumps. Yeah, I love it. I got an opportunity to meet him in the gym. Of course, by the way, he's fucking jacked. I think he's, how old is he?
He's 62.
60 days. 10 years older than me. Fucking animal. And it was a pleasure to meet him, and is another reason why you came into my life, because I got opportunity to meet him. And I said this to you, and we both laugh about it now, but you know, when I first introduced myself to him, he saw me, and the first thing he did was eyeball me up and down and be like, who is this motherfucker talking about my son? And then he realized I was a good person. You could tell he reads characters very quickly, and it's something that he's born with, but also learned, and I feel like I have that same trait, and it was very, very nice to meet him, and he's very respectful to me afterwards, but because he knows how much I respect you. So, but that part of life is so important that you share this with people, because, again, nobody digs deep and talks about this shit, like, or they have this going on in their lives, and they're afraid. Oh, I don't want anybody else to know what happened in my life. Why? We all fuck up.
It's real.
It's real. We make mistakes.
Life ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
Exactly. And it's super important that our listeners and people that follow us together understand that that's who we are.
I guess the overall theme of what I was sharing about with my father is I just wanted to be better than him, not in an egotistical way. I just wanted to be better than him. I want a great life. I've always wanted that from a little kid, and obviously everybody does. That's just easier said than done. But the way I look at my mentors, I want to be just like them in ways, but fix their mistakes, be better than them, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I look at my character as a synergy of all my mentors. And that's what I think makes me unique. It's very important to have heroes in life, to look up to certain people.
I agree.
I don't think you should look up to just one or two people. That's why it specifically said a synergy of all mentors, and that's what makes you that's what makes you unique. And that's.
Do you think? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. This just kind of ring about, like, because do you think there's a lot of people out there that go through life that just don't do that, and they just fall into line, and they're sheep, and they just, like, they don't look up to anybody, and they just, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me stay in the middle lane. Let me not cause any disruption. Let me not. Is that all kind of? Do you agree with that, or?
I think throughout time, if you don't believe in yourself, and you just keep stacking L's as far as your environment, and just not having that personal belief yourself that you can do it, whether it be anything. That's a very broad topic.
Yeah.
Over time, like, when you don't see the result from what you're doing, you just keep getting losses, then that's just, I guess, that people can start to believe that's life, and it's not life.
It's not. And people forget that those L's you're supposed to learn from.
It's like the saying, it's tough to teach a dog new tricks, you know?
Yeah, I think, and again, I think we, just like with alcohol, or just like with smoking weed, or just like when you take your first opioid and it leads into the next one, we get caught in that vicious circle. It's hard to step out of it. That's why it's interesting. I found so many people in the gym, found so many athletes, and people in the gym, just regular people that have the same type of lifestyle we've had, and they find happiness with their health first, right? They start working out again. They get their mind right.
Absolutely.
That's what I've been going through the last 3 years, is working out, get myself back.
The biggest lesson I've learned in entrepreneurship is you're not going to get what you want until you become who you need to be. Yeah. Until you become who you need to be. When you keep failing, it's just God telling you, you're not quite there yet, but you will be there soon. You just got to work on some things.
And why do you think this? Do you think that God gave me the opportunity to make so much money at a young age because he knew I was going to fail and he knew that I was going to be a better version of me later on? Or do you think, I don't know. It's because I don't know if I honestly deserved the money that I made when I was younger. I'm not saying I didn't work hard for it, but did I actually deserve the money at that such a young age? Because I either blew it or I just did stupid shit. Not that I didn't buy property and do all that stuff, but like I should have so much more. And you woulda, coulda, shoulda. I get all that, but I wonder if I'm going through this process now because he was like, "There's so much more out there for you," and that's where I think I'm at right now.
Absolutely.
And it taught me to value the dollar a little bit more. I'll always be a spender. I mean, that's who I am, and I'll always want to help people. And most of the time, it's let me take you out to dinner. Let me do that. I love giving. I love it, and even when in my worst times, I would tell one of my buddies, I go, "We're helping others again. We're helping others," even though it was probably not the right way we were helping others, but we're always helping others, right? And I kind of feel like that's what's happening right now, even though the money's not there. And I said this to my son Ty today. We were driving out of where we live here in Country Club, and I said, "You know what? When I bought this house, I thought this house was small. And now we just in the process of selling this house, and we're downsizing into a smaller house. Now that house is smaller than this house, and everything. And I go, I'm gonna miss living in here, but I took everything for granted when I bought this house, and now I don't do that anymore because I look at life differently because I've been suffering and knowing that I have to go backwards to go forwards. So it's been an interesting journey over the last 3 years, but I've definitely gotten to a point where I feel like I'm growing mentally, physically, all that stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
That's beautiful, man. I'm proud of you, and I've seen it firsthand every day.
Thank you.
And you are an inspiration. Keep up the hard work and doing what you're doing.
Thank you, buddy. And I'm telling you this, you are an inspiration to me because
That means a lot.
at 25 years old, I was not you. You're a great young man whose success level is going to go through the roof, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to watch it. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And I appreciate that.
Man. I appreciate you, brother.
Of course. All right, guys, listen, that's the end of our episode. Please follow us on all social media pages, especially let's start following us on TikTok. We need to make a bigger presence. Today's episode was truly amazing because Jay came into my life for a reason. I say this all the time, new people that come into my life, but he's more like a son to me, being 25 years old because I have a 25-year-old. But watching him grow and meeting him in the gym has been absolutely amazing. And you guys follow this product and start buying it because it works. I'm telling you, I'm not an infomercial, but I use it. My wife uses it. It's amazing. And please follow us on all social media pages and keep listening on Spotify and YouTube. And we're going to soon be up on Apple Podcast. Thank you. Have a great day. Blessed to all of you. Much love.
Thank you, guys. God bless.